This is going to be an interactive session. Those of you who've been at our track, we try to make sure that we're not just listening. We are very much a listening culture, which is good, but not the good kind. We're a lecture culture. We like to hear, inspire, and then we go home, back to our lives. So, inshallah, conflict, it happens in action between people, so we need to do some action here. So as we get started, I would like all of us to kindly stand up. You guys all had your lunch? You guys ate lunch? No lunch, just breakfast. Okay, mashallah. Oh, no breakfast. Okay, that's good, mashallah. Alrighty, we're going to start with some quick stretches and deep breathing, inshallah. So make sure we're alert, focused. I only have very limited time. Then the final session of this track, when I make it the best, inshallah. All right, hands up. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Okay, this is a practice round. Okay, this time you're going to raise your hands up. You're going to tippy-toe and take a deep breath. Ready? Some brothers ready in the back, mashallah. Deep breath. Tippy-toe. Reach for the sky, the ceiling. Okay. Deep breath. Exhale. Very good. Stretch out. Don't knock anybody out. MashaAllah. Deep breath. Exhale. Okay, this one is a little bit difficult. You're going to walk where you're standing. Walk where you're standing. Yes. Walk where you're standing. Yes. Like, brother, I already made far into this room. This is like the corner of this conference. I only did enough work for today. Now, mashallah, you will get your 10,000 steps. Deep breath. Shake it out. Exhale. Okay, have a seat. The brother said thank you. Mashallah. No, you can go on a little longer? Oh, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Alrighty. Conflict. Alhamdulillah. Oak Tree Institute, for those of you who may know, we started off as a training organization. We were providing leadership training for staff, volunteers on leadership skills, how to run events, how to run programs, how to manage organizations, so forth. Eventually, people started asking us, can you coach us? Can you work with us? And so we started doing coaching, working with the teams, working with individuals. And then people said, you know what, can you come and assess and consult and develop things and co-create things with us? Alhamdulillah, we've been doing that. But more recently, we've been asked nowadays to do interventions. So we have had staff members of organizations at a senior level who don't get along, and so the president brings us in, can you intervene? We have had board member and committee lead that don't get along. We've been asked to intervene. We have had imams and chairperson that get along. We've been asked to intervene. We have a lot of conflicts in our community. Unfortunately, one of the most saddest thing that I mentioned in the last session is that you'd imagine that you've been part of a Muslim organization as a board member, as a volunteer, as a committee lead. You'd imagine that you have spent all this time and effort being part of the organization, and inshallah, I hope that, and I would hope that you having spent this time in the house of Allah, for example, if you're part of a masjid, or in a Muslim organization, you'd come out being more connected to Allah than you were before. But unfortunately, more people come out of board meetings having committed mistakes and sins. To the point that their own children say, I don't want you to be part of the masjid. You bring all that anger and frustration to the house. Yes. That is not how a work of Islam should be. That is not how we should be. Can you imagine, and I give this very silly example, if you were working for, as a consultant for McKinsey, for example. After you've been through a McKinsey, or you're part of a Google, you're ex-Googler, ex-McKinsey, they say that because you should have come out, been a different person, hopefully. You had some new skills, new exposures, but we come out of masjid boards not being closer to Allah, because that was the whole mission. We come out of masjid boards, committee leads, we come out of volunteering for an institution, we come out at a worse state. Having had a problem with this person, I don't go to this person's house, I have fight with this other brother, and that is not where we want to be. Conflicts is a very human nature. Alhamdulillah, we have a lot of conflicts. We have different opinions about the political strategy of our community. We saw that fight play out. I'm not going to name place or location. There are different opinions about engaging the police. There are different opinion about when a board member who's not elected, and I was saying this at another session, that subhanAllah, you talk to a brother, and he sings praises of this organization. They tell you, mashallah, our masjid, or our institution, mashallah. And I meet the brother a year later, and he's telling me all these things are negative. I ask him, simple question, brother, are you still part of the board? No. Oh, I see. I see the problem, because you're not part of the board anymore. All of a sudden, they're the most evilest organization on the planet. SubhanAllah. This is not da'wah for Allah, by Allah, to Allah. Right? I asked a simple question when I do volunteer training for masjid. I said, if your neighboring masjid brought a speaker and, mashallah, amazing event, and you had the event the same night and you had a very low turnout, are you happy? They said, no, we're not happy. I said, you should be happy. People are also getting hidayah in that masjid. Your whole goal in this masjid was to bring people close to Allah. They're getting close to Allah over there. What's the problem? Right? We have conflicts when it comes to individuals who are spin-offs. We have a lot of spin-offs, mashallah. People don't like the direction, they open their own. Which is good to some extent, and can be terrible to some extent. Asking yourself the question, is it because of you? Because you're no longer in power, you're not part of the board? Or is it because truly there's a need for another organization? And also we need to diversify. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We know that the legislations that are coming and the administrations that are coming, we do need to diversify the Muslim community. I was going to give an example, I'm not going to because someone might feel offended. Okay, we do have different opinion when it comes to aqidah and fiqh issues. Different financial agreements that gets into problems, community split apart after a firing of an imam, and when the rest, The challenge is conflict is normal. Even, back in the days, I didn't introduce myself. I'm part of the Oak Tree team, obviously, Muhammad Hassan. By profession, I used to be a therapist. And eventually I left therapy and went into corporate, and I work for a management consulting firm now, and I do organizational strategy and talent strategy. But when I was back in the days, I was a therapist, I used to do some premarital counseling, coaching, and I used to tell people that fight is not a problem. You're going to have fights. It's how you fight. So any team that tells me, brothers, in our team, mashallah, we have no fights. I said, you're lying. Impossible, we don't have fights. Anybody that tells you they don't have fight in the board meeting, they're lying. You're going to have fights, but how do you fight? How do we fight with the right akhlaq? How do we fight with the right wisdom? And we call it, in communication, productive conflict. Productive conflict. How do you have productive conflict? When you don't have productive conflicts, we know what happens. People, instead of having the hard conversation, what they do instead is that they force and try to convince. Or they ignore each other completely and just try to lobby their way out. They have all these side meetings, coffee shop meetings, about the board meetings. People try to enable these people, some individuals, because they're bringing a lot of money to the organization. We can't touch them, right? Or we have individuals, we know this horror stories of organization being split apart, police being called into board meetings. These are real. I heard these cases. And of course, people commit mistakes and unfortunately fall into sins instead of being closer to Allah through their work in the organizational institutions. And I'll be very blunt. We've seen the work, even the brothers and sisters, mashallah, all the effort for Gaza and all the organizations that are involved, we have seen the infighting. And it sucks away the productivity, sucks away the level of impact we can have. So conflict is natural, is normal, is human. We have them in our families. You might have just had it in the car. Welcome to the convention. But how we fight is more important. So first, I want to begin very quickly by talking about mindsets that we need to have when we fight. I'm focusing on individuals, all of us here, how we can better fight, how we can better argue, how we can have more productive disagreements. At the end, inshallah, I will shed some light on if you're part of an organization and there are people fighting, what can you do to intervene? You don't have to always call me up or call Oak Tree. You can also intervene. I'll talk a little bit about that, inshallah. But first of all, I'm going to just be focusing on you because you're here, individuals. So number one, if you want to have good conflict, if you want to be someone that have productive fights, you need to be courageous. What do I mean by courageous? What does that mean? I'm going to tell it like it is. No, that's not the courage I'm talking about. Courage to have hard conversations. right? Courage to have hard conversation. It feels terrible to have those discussions. Your anxiety, is skyrockets. You dread the conversation, but you got to have those conversations. There's some kind of thing that is holding a team back, and there are people who are sitting in the same team. They don't talk to each other ever. They send formal emails. It's very funny. They send these formal emails to each other. CC everybody on the planet. And that is not the way we can run our organizations. SubhanAllah. People do this in their households too, mashallah. But so you got to have that courage in the way we deal with conflicts. Courage to have difficult conversation. Courage to back down when I'm wrong. Courage to really listen. Because when you don't have good conflicts, there are back channel politics, there are gossips and personal attacks. When you don't have good conflicts, you ignore controversial topics and you fall into the trap of opinions and perspectives. Teams and organizations and families that have good conflicts, they experience interesting and thought-provoking conversations and meetings. They address problems head on, and they get perspective from diverse individuals. So that's number one. Number one is courage. I need someone to write courage on that post-it board. Any volunteer? No, not my Oak Tree team. Someone else. Brother, okay. There are markers there. I want you to write the first word. Write down mindset number one, courage. Courage. Okay. Mindset number two is just. Being just. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "O who you believe, be persistently standing firm in justice. وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ." You have to be fair and just, even if it's against yourself, or your parents, or your relatives. Al-mu'min mir'atu al-mu'min. Believers are like mirrors. And the scholars' comment on this hadith is that if you go in for a mirror, and you have a pimple, the mirror does not make your pimple bigger or smaller based on how much it likes you. You talk to someone, and they will describe a drama. Based on who you're talking to, the person's fault will be big or small. Al-mu'min mir'at wa mu'min. You are not supposed to be like that. I'm not supposed to be like that. I'm supposed to be, number two, just. Just. I'm supposed to be just even the way I fight. A mirror is so fair that, it shows you exactly and it reflects exactly as it is, as the truth. It doesn't make it small, big, small. It keeps things confidential. You go for a bit, put your hijab on, and you move away, and your brother comes, your image doesn't stay there. You go to a board meeting, you have a fight, you are on the phone right after the meeting talking to 3 other people about what happened. Brother, don't share this with anybody, but SubhanAllah. That's amana, al-majasu bil-amana. These kind of gatherings are amana, especially when you're part of a board. When you're part of an organization, when you're part of a team, when you're part of an institution, you have obligations. We find that Umar radiallahu anh, one time, there was an incident where a woman was brought and she had a complaint against Umar radiallahu anh. Umar radiallahu anh was the Khalifa. He was the Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was the president, the leader. And obviously the judge was appointed by him. So he walks into the court and the judge stands up out of respect for the Khalifa, for Amir al-Mu'mineen. And Umar radiallahu anh, he says, this is the first injustice you did to this woman. I'm being questioned and tried. You can't stand up, show respect to me. I'm equal in front of the law. SubhanAllah, one of the main reasons why we have fights in our families, our organizations, and by the way, it's interesting, is that the way you fight in the household, normally that same behavior you probably do in the organizations. People behave very similarly everywhere. If you really explore, unpack how you behave in an organization, a team, you'll see probably also interact the same way with your siblings. So one of the main reasons why we have a lot of fights is because I value and love my opinion more than the Jama'ah. So my opinion is more important than the mission of the organization. I could care less about the mission. I had an opinion people didn't take it, or I'm trying to convince everyone about it, and people don't. It's the right opinion, brother. I did my homework. These people have no clue. I know, yes, that's true. But sometimes you have to let go of your opinion for the sake of the jama'ah, for the sake of the group. That's part of organizing and working in an organization, even if it's inefficient. Even if your opinion would have led to super efficiency in the masjid. But because the jama'ah disagrees with you, you have to keep your mouth shut. And then on top of that, once the decision is made, then you own it like it's your own decision. Not 6 months later, I told you so. See, I told you guys. No, that's not the way of a Muslim. Reason why we have conflicts because we are not just. Okay, brother, we need to write the word just. You're not done yet. MashaAllah. So just. Okay, number 3. The third mindset, the third and the last mindset, in order for us to have, conflict that are productive, is that you need to be someone who has a mediator mindset. You need to be a mediator, a peacemaker in your nature. Sa'd bin Ubadah radiallahu anh, at the conquest of Mecca, Rasulullah gave him the banner of the battalion. And as they were entering Mecca, this is at the conquest of Mecca, he was emotionally overwhelmed. He thought about, Sumayya, Yasir, Bilal, Khabbab, and he was overwhelmed with emotion. And he said, Al-yawmu yawmul malhama. Today is the day of, of killing, and we're going to take retribution. And the people of Mecca felt very afraid, and a woman came and complained to Rasulullah. Rasulullah took the banner, gave it to his son, Sa'ad, and he taught him instead to say, Al-yawmu yawmul marhama. He said, no, today is not a day of retribution, today is a day of mercy. He understood that he's trying to build and unite people. That's what Rasulullah's attitude was. He wasn't divisive. He was trying to mend hearts, bring people together. And so, number 3 is that we need to have the mindset of being a mediator. A man comes to Rasulullah and he is seeking some sadaqah. He wants some, from this estate. And Rasulullah gives him, and he tells him, Ahsantu ilayk, did I do just by you? He said, Ya Muhammad, Allahi ma ahsanta wala adalta. No, Muhammad, he's saying out loud. Muhammad, you haven't done me good, you haven't done me justice, you didn't give me enough. And you can imagine the companions, they hear this. First of all, disrespect Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad. On top of that, you're saying Muhammad is not just in giving you sadaqah? And so they're about to jump on this man. Rasulullah says, everybody come down. He takes him inside, he gives him. And he explains to this man, he said, Inna ashabi qad wajadu alayk. Like, my companions, they're not kind of happy with you. So if you can kindly go back outside and let them know that you're very happy with the arrangement here, it would bring some peace. And so this man goes, Allahi ahsanti ilayya wa adalta ya Muhammad. Goes outside and says, Ya Muhammad, you did me good. Rasulullah is so attentive to the PR, so attentive to the imaging, so attentive to keeping the team together, keeping his community together. SubhanAllah, some of us, because we love our opinion so much, we are divisive in our teams. We think we're being Elon Musk of our masjid board. You don't have to be Elon Musk of a masjid board, right? You need to have that mindset of number 3, brother. Was there a brother? Number 3, the mindset of a mediator. Mindset of a mediator. When you're in a conflict, you have 2 approaches. You can go back and forth, right? Go back and forth. I'm going to need a volunteer. The young brothers who are on your Instagram, come for a second, or TikTok. I'm kidding, I'm joking. I just took they're all looking at each other. That wasn't me. MashaAllah. Brother with the hat, come on up. You with the puff jacket, white jacket, MashaAllah. Okay. Round of applause for him? Okay, round of applause for him. MashaAllah. All right. Who is as tall as he is? I need another volunteer. He's also same as, okay, come on up. MashaAllah. All right, brother, what's your name?
Ahmed.
Brother Ahmed, MashaAllah. What city are you from?
Missouri, Columbia, Missouri.
Columbia, Missouri, MashaAllah. Columbia, Missouri. All right. Anyone else from Columbia, Missouri? Nobody, MashaAllah. Only you, MashaAllah. Brother, what's your name?
Ayan.
Ayan, MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Okay, so there's 2 ways of approaching conflict. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate both to you. And this is just a visual, okay? This is not what you do at your house. One way to approach conflict is to face it head on. So you guys face each other head on, okay? And you throw a jab, don't actually hit him. You throw a jab, he throw a jab. Go ahead. See that? All right. Then conflict, and then throwing jab at each other, right? Any of you taken martial arts? A little bit. Yunus is a black belt. So Yunus from our Oak Tree team. Come on up for a second. Yes. No, they're getting scared.
Going back to my seat.
You're getting scared of Ammu? Come on, man. Okay, so Yunus, tell me this. In martial arts, what's one of the things you do? Do you take punches head on?
You have to dodge.
You have to dodge. And one of the things you learn is that, you throw a jab. One thing you learn is that you get to the other side. So now we're doing a waltz, right? Look at that. So instead of me fighting back and forth with him, I look at the problem together. Let's look at it together. We both disagree, and let's talk and discuss and find this solution together. See the difference? In most of our fights, we're doing this and this. It's back and forth. You want to get on someone's side. Okay, hold on. Let me try to understand. Why are you upset? Let's talk about this. What is your opinion? Let me try to understand you. Get on your side, and let me show you my side, and then maybe you'll come to a conclusion. Does that make sense? Round of applause for all the three brothers. I was going to have him practice on them, but they got nervous at the Ammu, so I had to let them go. MashaAllah. Okay, I want you to get in groups of threes, inshallah, and Yunus and maybe Jawad will help us, inshallah. What time is it? 3:39. Oh, good. We have another 2 hours. Okay, good. We don't, right? How much time we have? Who says 6 minutes? Come on, brother. 20 minutes. Going once. 30 minutes? No, okay, 20 minutes. Okay, we'll take 30 minutes. 20 minutes, inshallah. Okay, we need teams of threes, inshallah. So you'll be randomly assigned. Mix them up, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. So what we want to do, inshallah, we want to break up into groups of threes. Let me give you the instruction. Don't get distracted by them. Focus here. You're going to get into groups of threes, inshallah. I want you to share with each other a time when you had a conflict with someone, or if you know two people who had a conflict with each other, okay? I want you to discuss that conflict in the groups of threes, and I want you to talk about which of these mindsets was missing in their conflict, and how did that impact that conflict. Does that make sense? Is it easy? Okay. Groups of threes, talk about a conflict that you were involved in. And I would prefer, because it's leadership track, I would prefer it to be, I know you have plenty of conflicts in your household. I'm just kidding. Inshallah, may Allah bless your families and put barakah. But I prefer it to be a team conflict. Prefer it to be a conflict in your masjid board or a youth group or something of that nature, inshallah. So take a few minutes, discuss with each other, and talk about which of these mindsets were missing in that fight, in that conversation, in that discussion, in that drama. Make sense? Okay. So you should have gotten an index card. The index card has a number. What that number is, there are two other people that also had the same number in this room. Your job is to find them and sit down. Alrighty, have a seat. I'm going to call out the groups. Group number 1, raise your hand. The ones. MashaAllah, 3 of you, good. 2, group number 2. 3, quickly. Okay, 4. How do all of them get together? 5. 5? 2 of you only? Okay. 6. 7. MashaAllah. 8. Sure. 9. Only one person, 9? 2 person, 3. Got it. 9. 10. MashaAllah. 11. Okay. 12. 13. 14. Where's 13? Oh. 15. MashaAllah. 3 people? 15. 16. MashaAllah. Okay. 17. 2 people, 17. Okay. 18. 2 for 18. Is it 2 of you guys? Okay, maybe the 2 of you can join together, inshallah. 18 and 17. 19. Okay, 20. 21. That's it, mashallah, 20. We got 20 groups, 19 groups, inshallah. You got 5 minutes. I want you to discuss a recent conflict, argument, fight that you were involved in, or you saw someone else being involved. And then number 2, discuss which of these 3 mindsets was missing and how did it impact the drama. Bismillah. Another 1 more minute, inshallah. 1 more minute. Okay, where?
Put it here. I know what you can do. They're gonna block it.
I'm not getting into that. All right, inshallah. Say your final sentences and thoughts. I'm going to count down to 10, inshallah, and then we will face forward, face front alert, inshallah. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. Inshallah. You can stay seated with your teams, just everyone face forward. Okay, so we have a problem. The problem is, I told you about the mindsets. Mindsets are great. You could have great mindsets. We all are Muslims, we know our ethics and values, mashallah, good mindsets. But how do you execute on that mindset? It's good to be just, it's good to be, mediator. It's good to, those are all good things. But how do you execute on that? I'm not going to go over them because we're out of time. But I'll just tell you. and maybe we'll talk about them next time. Number one is you have to manage your emotions. You can't have good arguments and fights if you're already worked up. And so think about how you manage your emotions, whether it be from anger to anxiety to worry, whatever the case might be. How do you manage your emotions? Then how do you focus on the goal? Oftentimes we get into arguments and fights and we forgot why we started fighting to begin with. How do you get very clear on the goal? Then you have to commit to a solution. I was talking to a young couple, some pre-marital coaching, and I was telling them that no matter how difficult the first year fight becomes, I just want you to commit, inshallah, you know what, we're going to figure this out. We're going to continue talking tomorrow if needed. There's a commitment to a solution. That we're part of this team, we're going to all stay together and figure this out. So that makes it to number 4, which is make it solvable. Sometimes we position problem in a way that there is no way forward. Either you back down or that's it. You have to get creative, right? You have to find a way to create win-win. I just scratched the surface, we don't have time to talk about them. However, I do want to hear what you have discussed. I did want to just show you that, inshallah. So in your groups, you were discussing the mindsets. I want to hear some volunteers, inshallah. What are some insights and discussions you've had, and what did you discuss together? Who wants to go first? Okay. If you can introduce your name and then in your organization you're part of, and go from there.
Yes, my name is Zach Sheikh. I'm a part of many organizations.
MashaAllah.
But essentially what I have realized in my personal experience for 30 years being in business is that courage and being just has to start from you. And then you look at the world for potential mediation because the other party is probably, maybe they're not acting just. That's why you have a conflict to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think if you can counter the first 2 issues, which is being, having a lot of confidence in your own abilities, that what you're saying is fair, like you're not overtaking somebody, and then that you are just. Beyond that, it's just, it's going to have to fall into place by itself. Because mediation, I think, is a very heavy duty on the mediator.
Yeah.
Because if they're biased, neither party is going to be happy.
That's true.
They're going to favor whoever they want to favor. So I just believe the first 2 attributes can be the winning recipe for you to at least have a somewhat control on your own universe.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So if in an argument, in a fight, in a drama, only you can control your own emotions. You're only responsible for you. And you can walk in with the right headspace. You think about Musa alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends him to deal with Fir'aun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to him, فَقُولَ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. Tell him words that are flexible, mendable, accommodating. Because maybe he'll be reminded. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want him to go in front of Fir'aun to give da'wah with the mindset of he's the most evilest person on the planet, a tyrant, a baby killer, and an oppressor. Then he wouldn't be an effective da'iyah. And so oftentimes I hear people like, I'm going to have this conversation with my so-and-so, and I know it's not going to go well. If you're already going with that mindset, might as well not have that discussion. Because you're already saying it's done for, it's gone. And by the way, studies show that actually has an impact. Because you're already going in with that wall up, you're less resourceful, you're less creative, you're less able to manage your own emotions. You're less able to hear what the person actually is saying underneath all that tone. Okay, but very good insight. Others, what did you discuss? Yes, sister.
I'm sorry, because I have to leave, but I would like to say something. If you take a look at the audience, just take a look. Most of them are young people. First of all, this is a very good thing. This is a good person that I'm so happy that to see that we have a lot of young people that they are interested in this session. Second, that's also an indication that old people who are sometimes old or bloomers, they look at
Yeah.
the conflict. So look who here.
Subhanallah, that's true. It's a good point. Yeah. Because I'm expert in experience, mashallah, I don't need to. But you know what? It's okay. It begins with whoever is going to, push. And sometimes it requires just 1 or 2 people. And I'm all for revolts. No, I'm kidding. Any other insights from your discussion and discussing about your arguments or drama that you dealt with your peers? Yes. Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
The It's caused by a growth, for example, and an early cluster day, and it looks like it's happening across different areas. When you talk about outreach, so outreach is a great thing when you go out to da'wah, work with Christians and Jews and stuff like that. But now, since the 14 months of genocide, there is now appears to be these organizations that are mingling with Muslims, if you will, or working with Muslims. They are now more of supporting both sides. So how can we balance that? And there is two groups within the community. One group, no, we can continue working with them, even though we know they are Zionists, because this is da'wah, versus other group, no, we need to step back.
Subhanallah.
So where you bring the balance, and you have conflicts now between
These two groups with different opinions, yeah, absolutely. You know, subhanAllah, if you go to the first mindset of just, if you just peel the layer a little bit about the people who are pushing, and this is not a general statement about any community, okay? I have seen this. The individuals, and I was talking to someone before the session, there are individuals who are pushing for some of those engagements because they personally benefit from those engagements. They have had a long-standing relationship, they have business relationship. Sometimes if they show up as a Muhammad by himself, who are you? But I say I'm a chairman, I'm a committee lead of this big community, so I have backing of my, and then it builds your personal brand. On the other hand, also, the people who are against it, sometimes also personal. They realize this sister was doing this work for the last 30 years, I got one thing to put them down now, like something I could really hammer in, right? Is there Zionist or whatever? So, you know, subhanAllah, we're not fair. We're not fair in our fight. We're not thinking about the mission of our organization. So we can solve this seemingly conflict of like, should our masjid engage? Should our organization engage or not with whatever the organization name is? I think we can solve it if we all came to a table with a little bit cleaner hearts, a little bit less personal agenda. SubhanAllah, that's the number one issue that is at play. It's not even the strategy. That's the secondary issue. SubhanAllah.
So when we talk about justice, it's one issue because also sides like very strong. The second part is having a good mediator.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Few more, inshallah. I love your enthusiasm, but I want to give some other folks. MashaAllah, he's been with us in many of the sessions, so I love his inputs. Yes, sister.
We just trying to highlight a little bit more because, like you said, a lot of young people are joining the board, and it looks like there's this new, like, era of trying to involve more fresh blood into the board meetings. But then, like you said, there are people who've been in those boards for years. So those freshman people with these strong opinions and nice, beautiful ideas, but then you have those board members who are strong-headed and they just want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to resolve conflict between them. So I guess it's more of a question than like a strategy should be using to kind of like navigate that.
SubhanAllah, yeah.
Being in a position you're in that's a little more vulnerable, I would say, like how to navigate that solution for the better of the community. How to kind of shift there and be like, hey, we're doing this for the sake of the community versus your personal opinion of living here for 30 or 30 years.
Yeah, absolutely. SubhanAllah. First of all, we want to acknowledge the great work that those came before us invested and done the last, many decades, mashallah. But, we we're talking about this actually the session yesterday when we talked about succession planning and creating a pipeline for leadership in our community. So we unpacked that for about an hour yesterday. But I would just say a little bit from there, inshallah, that, subhanAllah, it's not enough to have token members. We bring in young people into our boards or into our organization. They're like a token member. They can't really say anything to the ammus and the khaltus and the uncles. They're just there, they smile, they take notes, and they say, sister, maybe you could do social media, and that's the extent of their work. SubhanAllah, we to give actual power. And SubhanAllah, and as a young person, you can take also this in your own hands. And I was talking about this, some brother asked, how do I do that? I said, first of all, you get involved, of course. Number two, find out who the donors are. You will find some donors who will be aligned with your thinking. You just got to bring them together. You got to create your own lobby within the community. And I'm not telling you to cause conflicts or call fasad or some kind of fitna in the community, but there are ways of being strategic, right? About aligning individuals that really believe in the style and the new way you want to move your community forward. There's the ways of see where the powers are at, who are the donors, who are the connectors, and have separate discussions with them, and then you push forward, right? Also, you have to benefit the community as well, not just say things in meetings. Nothing happens in meetings. This is also true in corporate world. They have these big steering committee meetings. No decision ever made in a steering committee meeting. The decision are made beforehand or afterwards. So we need to also know how to navigate, right? And inshallah, and as our young people are getting involved, we need to know how to navigate politics too. It's important. You just can't expect and have this naive idea that I'm just going to tell the truth and be the truth and as people just should listen. That's not how the world works, right? Inshallah, I think we need to get more smarter in how we operate, how we engage, how we bring people together. You see the Rasulullah, he was so emotionally intelligent, how he connected, how he did even politics of getting different tribes together. It's part of working with human beings. Alhamdulillah. For final insights, we are 2 minutes past 4 o'clock. So any final insights from anyone in the back? Okay, I got the front, but in the back. Brothers in the back, what did you discuss? Anything you guys discussed? Yes, last one. Pride gets in the way. Yeah, absolutely. That's the hardest.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of listening to the person who's talking because they have experience that other people don't. And the pride gets in the way.
I'll give you a quotation to remember and we end here. When people attack you or they challenge you, instead of being defensive, get curious. So that's very interesting. Tell me more. And really mean it, not in a facetious way. Like, I'm sorry you felt that, but I really want to know. So don't be defensive, be curious. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah bless you. And inshallah, enjoy the rest of your convention.